Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Alexei, and today I have a special guest, Britta Görtz. Britta is a super wonderful and talented extreme metal vocalist from Germany, and she released her brand new course on ProMixAcademy, which is called Screaming Vocal Mastery with Britta Görtz, in collaboration with Kristian, Kohle and Huart. It's a huge pleasure and honor to have you on my YouTube channel, Britta. So let's start our interview. So my first question is, how you got into metal music?
Oh, Alexei, that's a question. It's very difficult to answer sometimes because sometimes you start something and then you don't know how it all started. I remember that I have a brother who is 10 years older than I am, and he listened to Iron Maiden, AC/DC and that kind of stuff and introduced me to that. And I was so proud and happy to have an older brother that I really got into everything that he liked. So maybe that's where the seed had been planted. But of course, I had the whole teenage phase with boy bands and stuff like that. But then I think when I was maybe 14 or 15 is when I started to listen to heavier music and found my love for that. So it's my teenage years, I would say, really sparked my passion for metal music.
So my next question is how you became an extreme metal singer.
I don't really have the feeling that I picked extreme vocals as my instrument. I really I tried out a lot. I tried drums. I played drums for about a year and took even classes. I picked up the guitar. I picked up bass. And singing, especially these harsh vocals, was the first thing that really stuck with me, where I found a passion. And so it was a lot of trial and error before that. Once I figured out how to use my voice artistically, there was just no end to it. I was always, I think from the age of 11 or 12 on, I started to write my own song lyrics, but I didn't have any songs. And then, much later, I discovered that with the voice that I could make, which was always my funny voice, my noisy voice, that I could use that artistically. And up to that point, I really hadn't paid attention that there weren't many girls in that scene back in the days. It came naturally to me. I didn't really pick it, I tried and then I liked it.
So my next question is, where did you take your knowledge about growling and screaming back in the days?
I had none. I just opened my mouth and screamed, and I made all the mistakes that you can possibly make. So I remember being in the rehearsal room with Kripper before we even had that band name, We were just the three of us, two guitarists and me. And I tried out a couple things that I had written over the riffs that they did. And I remember that after every rehearsal I came home and was hoarse and could barely speak. And so I had to figure out a different way of how to do it. I had to figure out what is it that gives me this hoarseness. And that's how I slowly I gained more knowledge. I talked to colleagues, I talked to speech therapists, I talked to people who were just vocal coaches, and so build up my own knowledge pyramid from that.
Thank you so much. So my next question is, who inspired you to growl and scream?
I don't think that I have this one inspiration for growling and screaming. I have always admired people who were able to use vocals in a diverse and complex way more. So one of my big idols when it comes to that, I have to name Mike Patton, of course, because not only that he is a very talented vocalist, obviously, but the way that he takes all the different vocal sounds and things that he can do with his voice and also with other people's voices and creates music with it is really, really inspiring. I don't want to say that it was Mike Patton who got me into this kind of vocals, but it was definitely a building block as inspiration.
My next question is how you became a coach of extreme metal vocals.
I was talked into it. Like I really had no desire of becoming an extreme metal vocalist and coach at the same time. But like I was approached by some people, and I really got talked into it. So I tried it out. My very first lesson I did over the internet. Like it was a video arrangement that we had, and I tried it out. And then a couple weeks later, I don't know like why that happened. We have a music store here in my hometown, Hanover, and they had an academy where you could just like pick up an instrument and learn for a couple of hours instead of like having contracts with music schools that last for a long time. So they had these small courses there, and I was asked if I wanted to do a metal vocal class, and it was a 3-hour course, and I said, yeah, well, I could try. So I put together a course, and it went pretty well. It was sold out quickly, so we did it again, and this is like how I started. And it's funny because like once I started teaching, I gained more and more knowledge about my own voice, of course, and through all the students who asked me questions, I deepened my knowledge, and I found joy in that. And yes, here I am and making a living of it.
So my next question is, what basic tips can you give to people who want to learn how to growl and scream?
Well, nowadays it's a little easier on the one hand to gain knowledge because there's all these, YouTube tutorials, or like my course on the ProMixAcademy, whatever. So that might be like a door opener, like the entry might be a little easier than it was for me, where there were no one you could really ask to help out as a teacher. So I think that looking into that and trying out the tips that you can get from all these people is a good start. On the other hand, vocals is a very unique instrument. You cannot see your own instrument. No one knows when they teach you how your individual instrument looks like and how it feels for you. So it's different for everybody. So I would say that trust your own feeling with it as well, and just be aware that screaming and growling might sound very dramatic sometimes, but it feels pretty light in the throat. So you need some sort of strength and intensity with it, and a good projection. But what you don't need is a hardened and constricted throat. So find an easy spot, find a sweet spot where it feels good for you. That would be my tip. Like it's really not that much of a heavy feeling on the throat.
What age is the best for learning how to growl and scream?
Given the fact that when we are born, the first thing we do is scream, I would say that it's probably doable starting at any age. When it comes to young people, I have and had young people in my courses and also in my vocal classes. I would say that it's a good age to start when the kid is able to focus on something. And that might be with 10 for some people, that might be with 12 or 14 for other people. So it's nothing that you want to mess around with too much. You want to be able to teach the person a proper technique. And so once the individual kid is ready to have that kind of focus and maybe also train a little bit on their own, it's a good point to start with. And like when it comes to older ages, I don't think that there's a limit. My oldest student was 74 when she started. And I was very nervous when I taught her because I thought, wow, I really want to growl and scream for as long as I can in my life. And I was just like so eager to see whether or not she could just nail it. And she was just super relaxed and just the hell out. Like it was a pleasure to see. So I don't know, like whenever you feel like it, start and then see if it sticks with you.
So my next question is about your wonderful course. So what your ProMixAcademy course is about?
It starts at 0. So I tried to create a course that's aimed at complete beginners, or for people who already scream and growl, or maybe even have a band, but maybe they want to, bring some order, some refinement to their technique, or just have it explained as one whole thing. So I start with the anatomy of singing, growling, and screaming, what is going on an anatomic level, what is needed to build up that stamina for growling and screaming. Then a lot of breathing basics, some really nice exercises that you can do by yourself to train that, and of course how to find your growl and your scream. So I introduced the false chord technique and fry technique. It all stays pretty basic since it's for beginners. And then I introduced some exercises and screaming tips to get better by yourself on your own. And then Kohle of Kohle Studios and I wrote a song together called The New Devil, and that song is also included in the course with learning material, the lyrics of course, but also the vocal tracks and the backing tracks, so that you have a track that you can experiment with on your own and do covers, whatever you want to do with it.
Why people should buy your course on ProMixAcademy?
People should buy my course because it gives a good overview over the stages of learning how to scream, and it sort of gives you like milestones, what to achieve, and checkpoints to get ready. It also provides for a good basis of troubleshooting. If you run into troubles like hoarseness, you cannot achieve a high note, you cannot achieve a low note that you want to get. This might give you good pointers of where to look for an answer and how to get better. It will not eliminate the fact that you have to train by yourself. So just by watching the course you will not learn how to growl and scream. It takes a lot of practice. But I also include a warm-up sing-along, a cool-down sing-along. So whenever you want to get ready for stage, you can just play it and warm up together with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My next question is, can you give some tips on recording extreme metal vocals at the studio?
I don't know so much about like I have my SM7B microphone, I have my Focusrite ISO 1 preamp that I'm using when I record at home, but I'm really not that tech nerd. I don't know, like I feel like what I can give as tips as far as recording is prepare yourself for what you're about to do as well as you can. So like know which line you want to sing in which style, where you want to add some, some layers, where do you want some ad-libs, where do you want to bring in some pig squeals, some whatnot, so that you know for each song that you're going to record that you have the workload prepared, and also do a scratch track, like a pre-production that you can give to the one who's recording you, so that they know where the vocal lines start and everything. So a good preparation, also trying to be very healthy and fit when you enter the studio, so try to get as much sleep as you can, do some sports maybe in the weeks leading up to that, skip the whole drinking hard liquor stuff, and if you can, smoking, because that's really nothing. It only adds to the mythical part of being a vocalist, but in reality, like it's everything that destroys your body or attacks your body on a physical level isn't good for singing. So yeah, and on the other hand, like on the other side, for the person who's recording, maybe gain some basic knowledge of how vocalists scream, how they growl, so that you can give the person some tips, that you can give them a pep talk if they need it, because like some of my students, like they tell me from their when they tell me from their recording experiences, some are like, oh, like they just taught me like scream louder and use more air and whatnot, and it sounds to me like these might be tips from people who have no idea of how to growl and scream, and this will add even more exhaustion for the vocalist. And it's also good if you know your limits. Let's say you're fit for doing 2 hours of growling and screaming a day, then maybe let the person who's recording you know before they, prepare for like 5 or 6 hour days, and then maybe disappointed when you after 2 hours you say, I'm done for today. So just know your limits. There's no recipe like how long should you be able to growl, how much studio work should you do in one day, how many songs. It's very individual. Personally, I am a very slow recorder, so I prepare for 1 song for a day and then give myself like 4 or 5 hours just to finish that with all the layering, with like going back and forth and making all the decisions sound wise. So yeah, there's no wrong or right here.
What motivates you to do music? What inspires you to do music?
Oh, life. I mean, it's my artistical output. Like something that might be as important and sometimes even more important is writing lyrics. This is my original creative outlet, is writing. But then giving what I wrote a sound and bringing it together in a song and try to make it as powerful as possible. This is really, it's an energy reflection. So when the song is done and you rehearse it with your people in the rehearsal room and you feel the energy that is building up in that song, this is really something that goes like straight to the heart and straight to the guts. And it's I feel like when I create music, I always get a little more energy than I put into it. And when the whole process of writing is done and you're able to perform live in front of an audience, it's just, I don't know, to bring joy to people's lives, it always reflects back on me, and I feel very good doing that. And metal music is such an intense music, so I can't imagine any better place.
Thank you so much, Britta, for such a wonderful interview. It's a huge pleasure talking to you. It's a huge honor. So thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Bye, Alexi.